Welcome to The Slot, the channel where we spread the love for culture, for art, literature and art. And today we're gonna answer to a very exciting question, which are the 10 most important Egyptian gods of all times. Let's start with Ra. Ra was considered the sun god, the lord of creation, was the most important deity of Egyptians, and he was giving the sparkle of life to humanity. So it was the reason the Egyptian culture was existing, and he was strongly linked to the sun. Okay, the sun was Ra. That's why they made up this story where basically the Ra, the sun, was traveling the world by day, from east to west, and then when he was disappearing to west, he was going inside the underworld. In the underworld, every night he was defeating the chaos snake serpent Apep that wanted to devour all the humanity and plunge the world into this eternal night. And every night he was defeating him, and then he was sending away the darkness of the night with the sun coming from east. So it was a very interesting story. He was always depicted like this man with a falcon head and this golden circle riding this basically flying golden ship. So very nice character, and he was, as I say, the most important Egyptian god. He was symbolizing the sun and the day and the divine protection of Egyptians. The second most important god is Osiris, the lord of the underworld of resurrection. Actually, he started to be like the god of the agriculture, of the life, and he was symbolizing the fertile earth, because he taught the agriculture and the law to man, the justice. So it was a very positive god, but actually he had a very tragic story, because Set, the god of chaos that we'll talk about later, that he was his brother, murdered him, then he sealed his body in a coffin and cast it into the Nile, the big river of Egypt. And his wife, that was also his sister, that was Isis, saved him, going to rescue him through this very, majestic and mythological journey, and thanks to the magic and the devotion, resurrected him long enough to make one son. That was Horus. That was the avenger of the Egyptian culture, but even about that we'll talk later. After that, he went back, we can say, to the afterworld, and he became the ruler of the afterlife. That's why he was depicted like this mummified green lord, green because he was also symbolizing the rebirth, the rebirth from decay, the resurrection and everything. It was very important because all the fertility of the natural world was linked to him, and yes, he had this son called Horus that we will talk about now. So the third lord, the third god of Egyptian was Horus. Horus was the sky god and the avengers of Osiris. He was born with this tragic story, and he was depicted like this man with a falcon head and two eyes. One that was the eye of the sun, and the other that was the eye of the moon. So when he was grown up enough, he started to fight against Set, the god of chaos, and his uncle. In this way, what happened is that Set at some point destroyed one of his eyes, and that's why there is this big symbol in the Egyptian culture that is called the Eye of Horus, because we took off this eye, and then another god, that is the god of wisdom, Thoth, basically restored it. But yes, at the end, Horus won over Set. It was a very long fight of ages. They fought in the sea, they fought in the land, and it was one of the most important in this way. Since it was the Avengers, many pharaohs wanted to take credit for being their legacy, so they were claiming to be Horus kids, and or the power was given to them by Horus because was the kind of the messiah, okay, of the Egyptian cultures. The fourth Egyptian god we're gonna talk about is Isis, the goddess of magic and motherhood. The Egyptian had this picture of woman like this fierce protectors of the kids, and Isis is all the representation of that. Basically, all that she was, as I say, the sister and the wife of Osiris, and she gave birth after all this journey to save him from Seth and everything. She gave birth to this Horus, and she took care of him. She was hiding for all his childhood from Seth, the god of chaos, that wanted the world to plunge into chaos. And yeah, so she was representing all the fierceness of a mother that has to protect his children, and in this way all the Egyptian. That's why was the mother of the Egyptian culture, and it was a very important deity in the Egyptian pantheon. The fifth god finally is Set, the god of chaos and the desert storms. Now this is the evil god, but at the same time you have to understand that the Egyptian culture in this way they were making a link between the order and the chaos. I mean, it was all part of the same balance. That's why it was not necessarily a bad guy. Okay, it was not the villain. Okay, it was just giving order to the cosmic world. So there was the good and the bad, the heroes and the villains. But I mean, it was part of the order. He was not a bad person itself. And yeah, I mean, in any case, he wanted the world to plunge into chaos. He was the god of the chaos, of the desert, of the storm and the violence. And yeah, he was feared because he was the unpredictable, the very with the low temper god. He murdered Osiris, creating this big disorder, and he started his tyranny that then was defeated by, as I say, by Horus. But he was also helping, for example, Ra against the snake serpent Apet that we talked before. So Ra, that by night was fighting against this snake, was helped by Set in the afterlife, in the underworld. So he was even a positive figure in some way, and he was depicted as this man with an animal head that was quite unidentifiable, and in this way they were to give him this mysterious aspect. The sixth god is Anubis. Anubis was the god of embalming and the dead. He was like the Caronte of the Dante, Divine Comedy, and he was basically helping the people to go from the life to the afterlife. Because it was this ever watcher guardian that was overseeing their journey to the underworld. He was also the god of mummification and old embalming, so he was controlling the processing in the human world of to ensure that the bodies were properly preserved for the afterlife. And in the Duat, that is basically the underworld, he was weighting the hearts of people with the feather of Mat, that we will talk later is another deity. So when you see in the movie the scene when there is the person that is being judged by the death with this feather, with their heart and the feather, that's basically Anubis that is doing his job. And yeah, his image is basically this jackal, because it was, as I say, representing these cemetery scavengers and so on. So very interesting character. The seventh god is Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and the moon. He was the smartest god, and he was the god that actually taught the humanity, the Egyptian, the writing, the astronomy, the mathematics, and the medicine. So everything that was kind of educational was linked to him. He was also the mediator between the gods. So, for example, he helped to between the dispute between Horus and Set and so on. So everything that was linked to wisdom in general was basically given. They were giving credit to him, and he was also the scribe of the heavens. So he was the one that was taking a record of everything that was happening in the world, of the history, and yes, he was basically the accountant of the heavens. The eighth god is Maat, the goddess of truth, balance, and cosmic order. Her figure is actually, I mean, she's depicted as this woman with the ostrich feather, but at the same time, all her, most important thing is related to this feather we talk about that Anubis was using to judge the hearts of people with the Libra. So I mean, she was just a symbol of cosmic order, and there was this thing amongst the Egyptian that they had to maintain, Maat good in the society through being fair to the law, the pity, ensuring that there was the harmony in the Egypt. And I mean, yeah, she was the reason of the order. So without her, the world would have been into chaos. The ninth god of Egyptian pantheon that we talk about is Hathor, the goddess of love, music, and joy. Was basically the Dionysius of the Greek pantheon, and she was this cow woman. Yeah, maybe she was having some horns, or she was just a cow. Yeah, and yeah, she was the symbols of music and all the joyful of life. She was helping people through the underworld, or in the woman in the childbirth, and so on. I mean, he was just the amusement of the people of the god, and the temples that were devoted to her, they were, full of people dancing, playing music, and making offering, because yeah, she was basically the symbol of happiness and joy and everything. The 10th and last god is Bastet, the goddess of home protection. You probably know her because she's the god of the cats, basically. So she was the symbol of the cats, and I mean, the cats were the symbol of the home, the protection of the home, the wardens of your intimacy, and yeah, it was depicted as this, as I say, domestic woman with a cat face, or with in general feline head, and she was protecting the families from the bad, the evil spirits. And that's why cats were so sacred to Egyptian, because they were basically her direct representation. And yeah, it was a very beloved god. She was also the goddess of fertility, being kind. And another funny fact is that before she was a warrior, so it was even the representation of a woman that after spent a life as a warrior to defend from the chaos and everything, at the end she embraced the motherhood and the childbirth and so on. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's see soon.